Hello, we are Design Blue, and for this past semester we have been working with our client, Collage.com, in order to evaluate any potential weaknesses in their webpage. By going through this process that has included user interviews, surveys, comparative analyses, heuristic evaluation, and usability tests, we hope that we can increase the user-friendliness of their website. Collage.com is a design-it-yourself website where users can pick a variety of products, such as mugs, photo books, and t-shirts, and print their own pictures and image designs on them. They can add different stylistic elements as well, like text and borders. From our first meeting with our client, we were able to create a clear picture of the main demographic of Collage.com's target user base. Primarily, the base consists of women, aged 35 years or older. They generally are married with children and are not very tech-savvy. Throughout this semester, we've conducted multiple evaluations to help us understand exactly how users interact with Collage.com. Our first evaluation that we conducted was a series of interviews with individuals, 3 of whom fit the profile we established with our Collage.com contact, and 2 individuals who have previously used Collage.com. Our goal from the interviews was to look into individuals' perspective on the design-it-yourself websites in general and how they generally navigate these sites. From our interviews and the demographic data received from Collage.com, we constructed 3 personas of potential Collage.com customers: a 40-year-old married head librarian named Eliza, a 35-year-old married housewife named Annie, and a single 28-year-old interior designer named Angela. With each persona, we created a bio, goals, frustrations regarding the design-it-yourself site they are using, as well as a scenario for that site. From this, we were able to examine the potential facets of how these users would interact with Collage.com to make their products. Next, we conducted a comparative evaluation to see how the competition to Collage.com was designing their user experience to try to bring in the same customers. By looking at what they're doing to make the experience easier, said methods can help give Collage.com an edge. We picked a variety of types of competitors to evaluate. We also completed a survey among potential users of Collage.com and current users. We received 34 responses in total, getting approximately half non-users and half users. With the survey, our intention was not only to continue to develop our understanding of the demographic of Collage.com, but also to see user opinion of the fine functions of the site. For non-users, we asked their opinions of other design-it-yourself websites they've used and what they've liked and disliked about the process. We also did a heuristic evaluation, where our team itself would do an in-depth walkthrough of Collage.com, evaluating certain processes by a list of different heuristics. These heuristics consisted of consistency, navigation, prevention and recovery, and efficiency and flexibility. This was to further evaluate the user-friendliness and fluidity of the site. Finally, we held several usability tests of Collage.com, where we gave users 5 tasks that we felt allowed them to utilize quite a few of the aspects of the site. We felt that this test would be more informational regarding exactly how users interact with the site, since we would be able to observe them navigating it to complete their tasks. From all these tests and evaluations, we were able to form a group of key findings and recommendations that we have for Collage.com to make their user experience more enjoyable for their users. Our first finding regarding navigation concerns the navigation bar. Through our comparative analyses as well as our usability tests, we found that Collage.com often uses vague words in their navigation bar that do not immediately convey what the item exactly means, such as the word project. On other sites that we compared, use of clearer words on the navigation bar seems to make it easier to use. We've also found that the organization of the drop-down menu navigation bar is a bit cluttered and not intuitive. 2 ways of organizing products are utilized in the drop-down menu: event categorization, such as Mother's Day, and product organization. It is possible that these 2 categorizations don't mix as well, and products are contained in several categories. This can be confusing for users. There's also the problem that the groups of items under the shop do not contain all products available in Collage.com. Users are unable to navigate to these products from the home page. Our recommendation for this finding is that Collage.com should show by example in navigation. They should use clearer terms in the navigation bar, so instead of the more nebulous project, they could use something like start designing your gift or your started products. We also recommend that the drop-down menu be clarified, as well as making all items accessible or at least categorized in a way so users can access all of them. At the moment, it uses 2 methods to display the products: calendar-based and product category. This makes all of it confusing for users since multiple items that are displayed on the drop-down menu may also be in the event category. Using one method would be clearer to users. Our second finding is about the problems regarding the navigation flow. Through our heuristic analyses and our usability tests, we found that both ourselves as testers and the users were flummoxed by some of the unexpected pages that cropped up when attempting to get back to the previous page. The Insight Back or Cancel buttons did not immediately lead back to the previous page, and often led the user to the projects page. We also found that the two different workflows that users can take from the home page to a product and then to the builder are radically different layouts. This is incredibly confusing upon first going onto the site for new users. A user might use only one path for an item and then be turned around by the fact that this other pathway is so different the next time they come to purchase a product. We also found that Collage.com lacks a search bar, something that, in our comparative evaluation, most other competing sites had. It made browsing their products far easier. We also found that in selecting a product from their homepage, one of the pathways, there is a problem with the layout of the page. It is disproportionate in the amount of information dedicated to product selection versus the product you've already picked. If you want greater information on the chosen product, there's a lot of space devoted to product selection rather than the product. Our recommendation for these findings is that there needs to be more consistency and efficiency on Collage.com. We recommend for this problem that if back or cancel buttons are offered in sight, they lead directly back to the previous page in the workflow. Consistency in terms that the workflow of the site needs to be more consistent layout across the two different avenues that can be taken to chosen product. The fact that they are radically different does not help the flow of the website and instead creates two distinct experiences. And then for efficiency, we recommend that Collage.com add a search bar to their main homepage, and that they should match the space with the content they intend to display, to allow for further details, preview pictures, and other information rather than requiring scrolling down the sidebar. Our third finding here is regarding how users upload photos. Across our interviews and several usability tests, we have found that users have some frustration regarding uploading photos, especially from another device. They find the process not very intuitive and often difficult to find in the first place. This leads users to become very frustrated. Our next finding is regarding the placing of photos. From both our survey and usability test, we found that the users spend an inordinate amount of time designing their project, primarily spent in the builder doing the photos. In our test, every user had a little bit of trouble placing photos during a task. They found that the process of placing photos to be arduous and tedious. The option for auto-placing, which would have aided them, was not seen by all users. We also found that in the test, several users still attempted to use keyboard commands, like delete or copy, for photos in the builder. This did not work. Our corresponding recommendation is to improve the efficiency and scalability of the photo placing workflow. When a user goes in to make their product in the builder, all their options should be available to them outright, such as having the auto-place button more prominently on the page, as well as allowing the chosen photos to be more easily viewable. We also believe that allowing the keyboard commands to be synced with the builder would be extremely helpful for users. Our final finding is regarding the fact that some builder tools are not comprehensible. During our heuristic analysis, all of us testers were confused by several of the tools that were available to use in the builder. One of the tools we were confused about was the use of the shape tool, which all of us initially believed was a different function than it turned out to be. The use of the button next is also not clear exactly what it means in the confines of this process. Another confusing tool example would be the pop out, pop in, and bring up. In the heuristic evaluation, all four of us were confused about the function initially. Our fifth recommendation is that there should be more extensive tutorials within the builder that users can easily access. They should be able to get to the tutorial they need within the builder, instead of having to go outside of it for some written instructions. It would also be helpful to offer an onboarding guide to all users that haven't used the site before for the builder. Finally, Collage.com should clarify the functions of the builder so they are comprehensible to all users from the beginning. Here we'll discuss the limitations of our studies overall and how they can be done differently in the future to maximize results. Our primary shortcoming regarding our research as a whole was the time constraint we were under for each assignment. Most assignments were due 1 week after the previous assignment, limiting our abilities to do more in-depth research as well as examination. Due to the strict deadlines we were under, we were not able to properly examine the use of mobile version of Collage.com, despite our contacts at Collage.com requesting this be an item we look into. Further examinations of Collage.com will definitely want to look into the usability of the mobile version. Also, we used mostly a convenient sample when we were doing our interviews as well as our usability test. We lacked the time for time to do extensive recruiting of viable candidates and previous users. We recommend that our information from our usability test and interviews be taken as a jumping-off point for more extensive interview process that can be undertaken with more time and funding.